All right, so remember we do feast, sheath, shatter.
She likes to say shatter. I think you're more connected to the shatter.
Should we mix it up a little? Do we want to change who gets to have the shatter each time, or?
Yeah, it's not that I feel more connected to the shatter. It's that
I feel the most connected to the eating.
I mean, yeah, but the second word is hard for me to say.
Sheath.
It's hard.
Do you want to do feast, sheath, shatter?
Yeah.
And then you get feast, and then you get shatter. And I'll take one for the team and do sheath.
Well, I do want to do that.
Okay. All right, so do you want to start with hi, I'm Kate then?
Yeah. Hey, I'm Kate.
I'm Rachel.
And I'm Hannah.
And this is
Feast.
Sheath.
And Shatter.
Is it hot in here or is it just me tuning in to hear these three chatting about fantasy novels of the spicy variety? Not your average book club, if you know what I mean. Are you happy to see us? Or is that a dagger? It's feast, sheath, shatter. It's feast, sheath, shatter.
You did it! And today we're talking about Tower of Dawn.
Which is the 7th book, and I just want to say I'm so grateful to be back here.
I'm so happy to be back.
This is a really good happy space for me, and I've really missed talking about this series, and I'm so proud of Rachel. We are 7 books in.
I made it.
She may not have ever finished a series of this length that she just kind of didn't like, and she's just with us. And I'm so proud of you. I might cry because I'm really emotional today.
Same.
I am emotionally regulated and still emotional, so we've already checked in with ourselves.
It's okay to have a hard day.
It's okay to have a hard day.
Yeah.
But I feel so warm and cozy right now just getting to talk about this book, which I really love this book in this series.
I do like this book. This book was not bad. It was good. I like this book. Probably because Aelin is not in it.
Right.
And I liked we got to live with the characters a lot in this book.
Mm-hmm.
We were not being like booted through plot. We got to just like marinate.
This is not a fantasy with romance. This is a romance book.
Yeah.
This is about 2 couples.
With no spice.
And yeah, I'm cool with it. We got enough spice.
Yeah, at the very end.
We kind of got and Lorcan did. You know?
Yeah.
Oh, wait. Or is that in the next book?
That's in the next book.
It's okay. Just scratch that, reverse it. It's fine. So we get enough. But
yeah.
they're so great together. Sorry.
No, they're good. I like it. It
Yeah.
was good.
So we start off in the southern continent. Chaol got hurt. If we sum up what happened in Queen of Shadows, right? No.
Empire of Storm.
No,
So-
they happened simultaneously. So in the end of Queen
You're
of
right.
Shadows,
I'm sorry.
Chaol gets hurt.
Yes. Queen of Shadows.
And Dorian's like, bro, you got to go get fixed by the magic. You got to go to the continent where they still have healers.
Mm-hmm.
And
All the healers.
They still have magic. And they actually describe this as kind of this idealistic society that they still have, their people are happy. The cogne.
Religious freedom.
Cogne is a word if that translates. Never mind.
He's the Coggin.
He's the Coggin.
Okay, I've only seen it written.
Yeah, it's a Coggin. How are you saying it?
I don't know.
Kagon.
I didn't. I just
You don't say the words in your mind,
No.
so
It goes shh
yeah.
in your head.
where
we were having dinner with a
15 minutes going Cognate?
Cognate.
Cognate.
Cognate is a word that is the same in 2 languages.
Okay. Yeah, but it's a cognate or whatever they call it.
the cognate. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, so Coggin, they have this. He's kind of authoritarian, but the whole family rules, and the place seems to be pretty well balanced.
Yeah.
Like the lower people and the common folk are happy, and that's always a good sign that you have a healthy kingdom.
Yeah.
And they're a very, very wealthy kingdom.
Yes.
So
no slavery.
No, not at all. Now, what they're doing, it's a little, they actually have a conversation about that.
Yeah.
Arena and Kale do when they're having to experience the erotic dancing.
Yeah.
And they're all getting all fun with each other, having their
They took the
orgy.
E.
When they're having their orgy.
yeah when they're
Yes,
when they're
that
having the
one.
orgy
Yes,
and they
yeah.
take their ecstasy and Kale's being protective, which okay, Tam, but in a way he still lets her be her.
He's not that bad.
No,
he's just
he's not.
He's uncomfortable and he's projecting. That's all. It's not like, don't look at them.
Yeah.
It's more of like,
Cover yourself, woman.
it's just like oh, this is unexpected. Okay, I am uncomfortable in this situation. And now I'm high and uncomfortable.
Right.
And also she's hot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. So we have a broken Kale, emotionally, mentally,
Physically. Yeah.
broken Kale. Shows up kind of as a nasty little boy. Kind of, he's there. He's got a purpose. He's been sent there to be a diplomat for...
Interesting choice. Only choice, but interesting choice.
What was the choice?
Oh, that Kale be a diplomat.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're like, here you go, Kale. Go convince somebody of something.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah. And he takes Nezrin, who is... I love Nezrin's character.
I love her.
And can I zoom out for a second?
Sure.
Yeah.
When we're talking about Sarah J. Maas's books, something that a lot of people have a tough time with is when she doesn't do like direct plot line, go with the main characters, and she throws out like A Court of Frost and Starlight or this book, Tower of Dawn, and you will get so many people on Discord and on Reddit and everywhere, TikTok, that are like, do I need to read this book? Yes, you do.
Yeah.
I love this. I want to get to know these characters more. I like Nezrin. She's way more likable than Selena was.
Yeah.
She's... I want to know about her.
She's cool.
Yeah, she's really
She's
cool.
like a really cool
She's
chick.
really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I like Kale. I never hated on him. I mean,
He was really getting on my nerves in Queen of Shadows. Like his whole like, wah.
well, he's like a spoiled, privileged kid that's dealing with adversity for the first time. And there's
Yeah.
always a
But
when
he
people
needs this book. Like he
Yes.
desperately needs this
Yes.
book for me
He
to love
does.
him again.
right. And this book has some of the coolest lines about other character. I feel like this book does a really great job of transitioning us into creating a legend around Aelin
Yes.
and
yeah.
Rowan.
Seeing how she's perceived outside
Right.
of her group,
And
her
we
immediate
need
group.
that for the story. And it
Yeah.
was a great way to make the stakes bigger
Right.
and for us to really, you're still really rooting for her because you realize, like, when you're alone with Tony Stark or you're alone with Aelin or you're alone with, like, somebody like that, they're a real person.
Yeah.
And we got to spend a lot of time with her as a real person. But now the stakes are getting so big and what we're asking of these characters is so big. This is when we start to think of her more as this legendary Pokemon.
It reminded me a little bit of the Buffy musical episode. Now, ride with me on this.
I hear that. I'm with you.
It needed, like, we had such an intense previous book. Empire of Storms is so intense. And then you go to Tower of Dawn, and it's like, she had a lot of pertinent information, critically pertinent information she needed to convey. And really, we got this long, enjoyable, but slow plot where we got to sit with these characters. And at the very end, it was like the part where Buffy sings the song about how she was in heaven and they took her out of heaven. And it's the like, oh my God, here's the actual relevant information that we need moving into the next book. But if you had just buried it in another book like Empire of Storms, it would have all felt like we've reached this really high peak of stress and anxiety. And I needed like a down. So when we go back up, it feels even more stressful, if that makes sense. We need a contrast from the previous book. Yeah.
And going into Kingdom of Ash, like, I have a little bit of, it's not anxiety, that's not the right word for it, but I'm a little bit like, oh, we have to read Kingdom of Ash next. And I know I'm going to start crying. I know I'm so emotional today. So I know some of the stuff that happens and the stakes are so big and like some really crucial shit happens.
Okay.
And like we have to go through that again.
It's really bad.
Yeah, it gets really like, it's like this culmination of like attachment to this thing. Oh my God. Y'all, it's been a tough week. It's been a really tough week. This is a build-up. This isn't just about how much I love it, but I'm like, oh, we have to experience that again. So we have to watch these characters and the story end. Mm-hmm. So this is a really nice way to, like, just like you said, it's a breather.
Yeah, it's a breather.
It's a breather.
And it gives us more Kale. Like, and this is the one and only time I have seen Sarah J. Maas address a male character's emotional health.
Right. In this depth.
To this depth.
To this depth.
For the most part, it's like, well, you know, like we talked about last time, Rysand went through 50 years of what Feyre went through like 2 months of. And that doesn't mean her 2 months were not traumatic, but he went through 50 years of it. And yet we get nothing about his emotional journey. It's
Yeah,
just
he's
like,
fine. He has nightmares.
It's cool. So we got to live with Kale like through, he went through a lot in Crown of Shadows, Queen of Shadows.
Queen of Shadows.
Thank you. He went through a lot in Queen of Shadows. He went through a lot with Aelin. I mean, Aelin was emotionally abusive to him.
They were
Yes.
definitely in, oh, I hate did y'all hear that?
Yes.
That was a Diet Coke sitting in my chest. They were definitely in, I'm petty and catty to my ex mode.
Yeah.
So I'm going to filter all of my frustration. I'm going to be only rude to my ex.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, even though he says so often, and I love this about her characters when her male characters go, you know, I just kind of want her to be happy. And like, I'm not really feeling jealousy.
Yeah.
I'm kind of mad at her because this happened. And she's like, how could you let this happen? You know, like she put a lot of responsibility on his shoulders that he had nothing.
Nothing to do with. Yeah.
And also, like, just childhood trauma. You know, we get to see his banishment from his father's house and
kind of how he chose to,
like, all of his trauma.
Yeah.
Yep. And his explanations, you know, I like how Irene, okay. I like how Irene is this person who, you know, we've got this, they're not necessarily enemies, but she's definitely not a fan.
No.
And that him having to kind of explain the kind of his journey with like guilt and shame and knowing and being kind of complicit, with what shithead King of Ardalan. Otterland.
Yes.
Otterland.
I can't say it.
A land of otters.
A land of otters. You know?
Yeah.
And she's just like, fuck you with her little Irish accent.
Yeah. Yeah. Ben Harrow.
Ben Harrow. Yeah.
Yeah. I have to say, going into it, I was not going into it thinking that Sarah J. Maas was going to handle him being disabled well. After the way she handled the silent assassins and them not having any kind of a silent language, I was like, this is not gonna, I don't know how this is gonna go, but I'm not, like, I didn't approach this with trust.
Right.
And she surprised me.
Right.
With the way that she handled it.
Right.
And the way that she portrayed the feelings of helplessness when you have lived your entire life extremely physically competent. And now you arrive on a horse and this woman is like, okay, so his legs don't work, but his dick still does. So, like, we're going to try to get him down.
Manhood.
His manhood. So we're going to get him down. I want you two to try to help him down. Like, they almost dropped him.
The giggling teens.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. And something that, your sister said something one time about an Ice Planet book where she was grateful that a character who had a cochlear implant stayed that way. Right?
Yeah.
And that was something that I liked about Kale. The journey wasn't about being healthy and being perfect and going back to how he was. This whole journey was about him being just as valuable and just as much of a man and just as important and just as everything being having his legs not work.
Yeah.
And that's how he came out. Like, oh, there's going to be times in my life where I'm not going to be able to, I'm going to have to be in the chair. And that's going to be completely okay. And I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Granted, he did fill that hole with a wife.
Yes.
Right.
Slightly codependent way, but the stakes are high. So I think that's okay in this universe.
Really, literally codependent.
In a real life,
Literally
real
codependent,
life
yeah.
setting, modern world, not okay. In a fantasy world,
Okay, fine.
our stakes are great, are high.
Yeah,
You know,
it's fine.
totally okay.
Yeah, I need your magic to
Yeah,
make
our
me work.
souls are one.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you do too much, I'm gonna fall. Cool.
Yeah,
Not
if
a
you do
problem.
too much, I got to get the cane out, and it's a steady decline. Also, we have another moment where if you die, I die.
Yeah. Again.
Yes.
Yes.
Here we are again.
Here we are again. Except they didn't do it as like a, hey, can you promise to die at the same time as me?
But what,
Okay, I promise.
if, what if we have children? No, we're not thinking about the future
No.
Who
Fuck
cares
them.
about them
It's
kids?
Fine. It's fine.
or our family or the responsibility and the, yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's a whole other conversation. But no, I thought that it was, I really enjoyed his journey through not really healing his body, but healing the trauma around it and changing his perception of what made him valuable.
Right.
Yeah.
And those small moments where he met the other guard and he had come across this guard a couple times. This guard was helping him. And then like maybe 3 times after he met him, he's like, oh my God, your arm isn't real.
Yeah.
You have a
Prosthetic.
You have a
It's
prosthetic. Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, man. And all the boys are cool and it's normalized.
Yep.
And no one else is looking at him like he is nothing. He's looking at himself like he is.
Yeah.
And yeah. I'm glad you brought that up because I thought that was I thought it was well done.
It was really well done. Yeah, I did. And then I like Nezrin's journey from I'm literally just Kale's shadow. I exist because Kale needed a fuck buddy while Aelin was off finding her fuck buddy. And to I'm a independent character in my own right. And I get to go and have an adventure on my own. And it's fine. And I like that she's one of our least feminine characters. Of all, Sarah J. Maas tends to have extremely feminine characters. Wear all the
Girly.
dresses, wear all the makeup, long hair.
Big
Nezrin's
boobs.
like, long hair is ridiculous. I get tired of having it. I wear a shirt and pants all the time. And yet she still gets to be like the feminine, attractive character without having to be overtly feminine the entire time.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a moment in the book where she talks about how feminine her movements are, but it's from training and
Yeah.
the gracefulness that she has learned over time. Yeah, Nezrin is such a underdog. She's such that like side character. So for her to come to this place, and I love the trope, and I don't know the name of it, where he is so sure of their relationship before she is.
Oh yeah, falls first or
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah.
And he's like, hey, baby, I was in love with you when I heard stories about how good you are shooting a bow and arrow.
Yep.
Yeah.
And what do they call her?
Neath's arrow.
Neath's arrow. Like, she's like a legend. She's a legendary Pokemon, too.
Yeah.
And so,
She's Hawkeye.
She's
like,
Hawkeye.
Yeah. I love that. But this is the book about the final 2 characters who don't have like cataclysmic magical powers.
Right. They're just people.
Everybody else gets to be demigods. And
this
they're
is
just,
Hawkeye and
this is Hawkeye and
ScarJo,
yeah,
Black Widow.
Black Widow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Except reverse.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just like, oh,
And
this is good.
we get a lot of exposition in this book. A lot. Like
Yeah.
explanation of what's happening, right? We get this idea of that the healers come from Fae,
Yes.
that the tower is just this old Fae line, that this idea we learn about Maeve. Like that she drops bombs about Maeve
And
in
it's
this book.
all right in the very last section. But because we've been building it up as a mystery the whole time, it just feels like the end of a mystery novel when you get we meet in a room and the one character explains everything.
Right.
That's what it felt. You were like, Thank you. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. And as opposed to like nobody talks about that kind of stuff
Right.
in a regular conversation.
Right.
Although I did mention the spider needed a PowerPoint.
Oh, I know. No, she said she said the text. I was gonna say that Spider was like, "Bring me my vis-a-vis and prepare the overhead projector."
Minions,
Minions.
prepare my overhead projector.
Oh
Because
my
she's
gosh,
just like,
she did tell
she's
them
like-
everything.
She's like, and my mama Maeve, who's
Yeah.
actually a vowed princess, queen.
Oh, you thought there were only princes. Ha ha. There's
No,
princesses.
we're actually, and we're scarier.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're actually scarier.
Yeah.
And just this whole idea that Maeve has completely bombarded and made an entire class of magical being think she is also Fae.
Yeah.
And that the Fae that live there are the ones that tried to escape her and get away.
Yeah. Yeah,
I thought that was
part
really great.
So funny because Nezrin is like, "Oh, well, you could tell me as like a last gift," and the spider's like, "No." Okay, all right, that's fine. Yeah, I'll do it. And she's like, "Because you're so bold for asking. I'll go tell you
All right.
everything. Twist my arm. It's fine."
She's been waiting 8 million years to tell this story.
She's like, "It's been 1,000 years since anyone's asked me anything."
Yes.
Yeah, basically.
It's been 82 years since we went in the water. Yeah. And the spiders are so funny. They're so funny. Just waiting. Yeah. Just
Yeah.
waiting for a pedestal. They're monologuing. They're
Yeah.
like you.
They're villain
If you
monologuing because
are-
she's captured.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You never monologue ever. If you're monologuing, you're the villain. Like that is.
I was going to say
But they-
Voldemort.
they
yeah,
know they're
you've
the villain.
got to
It's
remember
fine.
that.
Yeah. And it's just to give Farron time. But at the same time, I don't think she thought she was going to get this level of detail.
Whoa,
Where she's
man.
like-
I was just like asking one question. I didn't realize you
Yeah,
were
I
going
know.
to
She was like,
Nezrin's like,
tell
this
us
is
your
fucking
life
gold.
story.
yeah, she was like, "Oh wow, wild Maeve, huh?" And she's like, "Yeah, Maeve, let me tell you about
Yeah.
Maeve."
Yeah. I like too that as we're getting more of this world and it's and this is happening somewhat in the metaverse, in the Maasverse, we're finding that there are different terminology for the same things, right?
Yeah,
So we're in this world and they have different names for Stygian spider. I don't know what they call them. I can't remember. I didn't write it down.
oh, the Rook, they call him something different.
Yeah, they call it it has a tribal name for the Stygian spiders.
Yeah,
But
because they're not as developed or whatever. They're more
the Karen
primitive.
Quee.
Karen Quee, got it. Karen Quee.
I knew it still worked.
Yeah,
I
your
saw
brain
it
Old
is
written.
noggin.
your brain is so powerful.
I love how they tie her up in front of the gate. She's like, "Oh, the gate? You mean that gate right there? The one over my shoulder? That gate? The gate that everybody came through? The gate that we opened? The gate that you need the keys for? That gate?
That gate?
Gate right there behind me?" Oh, right.
Yeah.
I could have literally tied you up and put you anywhere in this mountain,
Yep.
but this is the gate room.
Yep. Like her spider pride was too much.
Yeah.
She gave away too much. She wasn't sneaky. Maeve's probably pissed. She's really
Oh.
it's really a game changer if you think about it.
Maeve's got a
Sure
toy
is.
right now.
Yeah, she does.
Yeah.
She sure
As we
does.
found out at the very, very end.
Yeah, we get a glimpse of what's going on, where Aylin's at, the kind of torture that she's being subjected to. Is that our word?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Yep. Something that I think is really interesting is that we have this theme in all of the books about libraries
Yes.
and cats.
Yes. And they're always deeper. And somehow there's always candles lit way, way down.
Yeah.
They're like, "We don't know what's down there. No one's been down there in ages." And they go down and there's a candle. lit.
Yep.
And there's a scary monster down at
Magic.
the bottom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's scary monsters. There's cats everywhere.
Yeah.
Love
There's
that.
always cats in a library.
The bossed cats.
The boss cats. I
Yeah.
really like that because
Yeah.
they have they are a character in the book, and we're like,
Yeah.
why are these cats so wise, and why do they know so much, and why are they saving the day right now? And that's really great.
Because they're reading whenever everyone goes to bed. They're reading all the books.
They probably are, or they're like fae turned
Yeah.
into, you know,
They're magical creatures.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And I think that they are gonna be important at some other point in a larger universe.
Or they'll be like Mort, and they'll just
disappear
into the
forever.
sunset.
Yeah, Mort, we miss you, Mort.
R.I.P.
Mort. Yes.
R.I.P. the Jersey accent in the Throne of Glass
Mort.
series. Yeah.
Yeah. I liked all the Kagan's kids.
Yeah.
That was, I really didn't like Hussar, but I liked that each character got a different, they were all different people.
They were.
Yeah.
Very much so. And I think I did enjoy the fact that while this family, we get this backdrop or this back exposition of this family's history and how the Kagan they don't have a patriarchal society where the firstborn son is the heir to the Kaganate or whatever. The Kagan chooses who they want the heir to be, which prevents them from killing them.
Yeah.
But then the brothers and the sisters are historically fighting each other to come out on top.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And, Urus, our current Kagan, had to kill his brother. But you see so much love between all this family almost immediately. The way that family is genuinely grieving over Tumaloon, this isn't the family. Yeah, they're picking on each other and they're, it's almost like they've accepted that there's only going to be one. Mm-hmm. One of them.
Yeah.
They're just more evolved, I feel like. They just have so much love from their parents.
Their parents love them so much. Yeah,
their mother is destroyed.
She's in
from the loss of their
Bella
child.
Swan mode where she can't function.
Yeah.
When Edward left.
Yes.
I'm
catch
about
that
to,
reference?
I'm about to be in Bella Swan.
Except for what?
I'm about to be in that mode soon.
You have to read Twilight?
No.
You're going to grieve? For why? Oh, in Kingdom of Ash?
Yeah.
Oh, shut up. Okay. Let's not bring it up again.
Which is a great book. You're going to love it.
I don't know. The ending of it is, I'm not going to lie, Hannah. We'll save it for the next one.
Okay.
You're going to have thoughts.
I'm sure I will have thoughts.
Yeah, it's a really fucking long book.
Yeah.
And we know she likes to do multiple
just go
conclusions.
Go. It was funny because I read Tower of Dawn and we got to that little clip at the very end where we go back to Aelin, and it was so over the top and melodramatic after Tower of Dawn didn't have a ton that happened.
Yeah.
There wasn't a ton of plot.
It was all character development.
It was all character development, and it was really nice. I like that. I like to steep with characters. And then all of a sudden we're dropped back into Aelin land.
And you're
it was just like, I couldn't take it seriously. I think because of the juxtaposition, it felt so over the top.
It felt
for
jarring.
Me. It felt jarring because it's like
it is. Yeah, it's
like
very
the
jarring.
Queen of Fire slept in the box. They had made the box for her. Like
she's never
years
not
been in the box.
Yeah, she talked to the smoke and the fire, and the fire talked back, and I was just like, oh my god, I can't. And then they open the box and they're like, it's time to begin. I was like, oh god, okay. I'm mentally preparing to be back in that.
Yeah.
Well, and it'll be great because it does switch POVs a lot. We do, by the time we're in Kingdom of Ash, we're with lots of different characters.
Yeah.
So it'll move around enough for you to be able to
cope.
To skip Aelin.
I get Elite and Lorcan back. So
yes, very much so. Our booze, yes. So
I'll get to use that sound.
Can we talk about, though, how Nezrin gonna be a fucking queen?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Yes, because Sartak.
It's gonna be the fucking Kagan.
Yeah. I love that moment when they're in the pass and he's like, I've loved you before I even met you. And then he gets ripped away. At that moment, I wished I could have turned off I know exactly where Sarah J. Maas is going with this because it would have been a really dramatic moment. I was like, well, now he's not going to die.
Yeah.
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 And it's like Sam and Frodo when Sam gets caught by Shelob.
Yeah.
And Frodo's all wrapped up in the spider silk and he's like, Mr. Frodo, except it was Nezrin and Sartak. And I was just like...
It's actually the exact same.
It's the exact same. Yeah.
And that's okay. I'm good with it. So I was thinking,
there's only so many giant spider plot lines, right? What is a giant spider going to do?
Yeah. So the other night, Rachel and I were having dinner with a mutual, and Sorry, I just laugh at myself for saying that. And she was talking about that this isn't a book series that she feels like religious about. And I was a little offended for some reason. And I have been thinking about it and thinking about it and thinking about it. Not in a defensive way, but just in a way.
Trying to figure out your feelings.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Rachel said this?
Yes.
Yes.
But she
But
meant
you know this.
correct. But it was just like
The way it was phrased, maybe. It's because you have a negative connotation with the word religion.
Maybe that. I also felt like, I think it once again goes to this, like, I felt like you were judging me, but you're not.
No.
You're just saying, this ain't my shit, this is your shit. But I wanted to kind of zoom out and talk about how these books are making me feel. I have been reading fucking man fantasy, Tolkien.
Yeah.
Le Guin, who is a woman, but her stuff is still very, like, academic.
Yeah.
Intellectual in a way. Rothfuss, Sanderson, who I adore, and I will continue to love Sanderson's books. But I have been reading these male fantasy universes for so long and loving them. And then, you know, I read all the Way of Kings, the Cosmere books, which there's 4 now, and they're thousands and thousands and thousands of pages. And then I stumble upon these books that they give me this similar fantasy. I'm able to get out, but all of a sudden there's like romance and emotions, and they're accessible, like you said. She's a good enough writer for these to work, and the stories are good. And I was just thinking about how good that feels.
Yeah.
To have all of the things that I love put in a fantasy realm. Fantasy is such a hard genre.
Yeah.
You can't turn it into TV because we haven't had the, like, think about fantasy movies. We get so, where these IPs are so beloved to us, and we can, like, Star Wars. Think about what the Star Wars kids did to Star Wars. Like, they tear it apart. And this is such a women's fantasy realm. Actually, let me strike that and reverse it. You don't have to be a woman to like these books. There's actually a lot of men reading these books on TikTok.
Which I love.
They want to connect with their wives. They want to understand what these...
It's a feminine understanding of...
It's a feminine perspective. It's a female gaze of a fantasy. And for me, now there's a lot of this stuff out there. There's a lot of this stuff out there, but the fact that we do have some books that are complete... We have this other series, we have the romance with the fantasy. We have the fantasy with the romance. Then we've got this modern fantasy. We've got all these series. I think that there is something extra special about these books when it comes to that, for me.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I wouldn't say religious, though.
Only
it's
in that
it's a current hyperfixation.
Yeah, in that you have you
devour.
think about them a lot.
I do.
Yeah, you don't just read them; you process them. You think about.
I like
them.
looking
at
at
podcast about them.
Yeah, I like looking at fan art.
Yeah.
I like watching I like being on the book talk about this stuff. I like seeing the theories about how everything's connected. Yeah, I definitely. To me, this feels like my right now, and I go through seasons. We all go through seasons. This feels like a Star Wars or a Marvel for me.
Mm-hmm.
But we're not being bombarded with these, like, bullshit asshole opinions.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
A little bit.
Yeah.
I get you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a fantasy safe space almost. For like a feminine safe space for fantasy where you don't feel like, in the Star Wars fans especially, they get it. Right. They get just like there's a male overtone to the way that the fandom is executed. And it's nice to be in a female space that's a female fandom that is every bit as serious.
Majority.
Yeah. Yeah. A female majority fandom.
Yeah. And watching it be revered.
Yeah. It's every bit as valid and as
big.
Yes. And big.
Honestly, that's what I'm like. Fuck all these superhero movies. somebody do one of these things well and then make your money.
Yeah.
Like, we're done. Superheroes done. Marvel's fucked up. DC's fucked up. Stop making that stuff.
Take a break.
Take a break.
I don't want to see
Go get
any
you a
more
Greta-
Spider-Man.
Go do ACOTAR and make Greta Gerwig direct it, you know? Give her a big budget. Put her on or not even these, maybe something else. But fantasy has always been such a male genre, and women love it just as much. I don't like living in the real world either. I want to disassociate, and I also want there to be some giant dicks and bat wings.
Yep.
Yes.
Or
Is that so much to ask?
or a nub, a spur above their dick that's specifically made for a woman's vulva and clitoris.
Yes.
Clitoris.
Or if not a giant, just a like.
It doesn't have to be giant, yeah.
Doesn't have to be giant. It just has to be like
Like a good girthy.
Yes.
Just kidding. It doesn't have to be girthy either. It's all about the attention.
Yes, that's what I was trying to
Dick
get at.
size doesn't matter to anyone but men.
The focus, the female focus. Yeah, as
Right.
opposed to the male focus for a sex scene.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. I feel religious about that.
We're out here.
We're out here.
Why are people not making things for us?
Yeah.
Right. That's what
Like-
Sarah J. Maas did, and everyone was like, fucking thank you.
Yeah.
Fucking thank you.
Yeah. Thank
Yeah.
you. And
I wanted a romance novel that felt like high fantasy.
Right.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel
Like-
the same way about vampires. I want a vampire novel that is not just a trashy romance novel.
Right.
Like, can we take that out of there and
did
give
you
something
like
better?
Anne Rice?
I like Anne Rice okay.
Yeah.
They're okay.
I mean, they were really good books.
I don't like vampire characters that have zero weaknesses.
Yeah, you've said that.
To me now, I'm like, meh, what are you going to die? You can't even die. It's fine. I don't care anymore.
Right.
There's no stakes for you. Yeah,
Yeah.
but
But they're functionally immortal.
they're functionally immortal. But you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
that romance was romance, fantasy is fantasy. But when we smash them together and we make romantasy, well, this is what a lot of people have been looking for. I want these themes, but I want them elevated.
Yeah, I want the universe where the high stakes are reasonable.
Yeah.
You know, where it's okay if your main character, like, kills people in response to her feelings.
Right. As long as it's reasonable.
As long as it's reasonable, yeah.
Oh, I like how Kale lost his scar.
Yeah.
Irene,
She zaps
she
it
healed
away.
her scar. His
Yep.
scar at the very end when
Zaps it.
Yeah.
she calls on Silba
Silba,
to
the owl,
yeah.
who Maeve has an owl hanging up over her. And something that is a theme in this book that I really think that is going to end up being something a little bit more meta is that this stuff is all really faded. Like, there is someone pulling some strings.
Yeah.
Like, there is like a pantheon
Yeah.
of higher beings somewhere rolling dice to figure out who's doing what. Because the fact that Aelin sent Irene to the tower,
yeah.
and then that is Chaol's wife, and hit the love of his life.
Yeah. In the short story, when she leaves the note, she says she feels the
Yeah,
same thing
she
that
felt the pull of the string.
The
that
strings.
Manon feels, where Manon will
Right.
feel like, okay, this is a moment. Like, I need to do this thing.
Yeah, somebody, this is for me. And Lorcan
Fate.
feels it too.
Yeah.
And Elite feels it. And there's people, there's these little presences like peeking over their shoulder, like there was a chaos god on my shoulder this week. You know?
Chaos Devil.
Except you're not going to have to face a Vogue princess at the end of the week.
Well,
No.
I mean, you never know.
You never know, actually.
Yeah, I kept saying I'm scared to leave the house. I don't know what's going to happen. I feel like this is all leading up to something, and these are like signs the universe is sending me. Just so for the listener, for our 5 listeners, I fell down the stairs this week. I got stung by a bumblebee. I rolled into another car. My dog got skunked. What else?
Your dog ran into the road
My-
while you were checking on the driver that you bumped into because you got stung by a bee?
Yeah, that.
Okay.
This rude jerk listing agent hung up on me because I asked a reasonable question and his ego was too fragile. So, like, I don't like aggressive men. And I think in a professional setting,
It's
You gotta
so
hold your shit
inappropriate.
together.
it's so inappropriate.
So inappropriate. Yeah.
Yeah. And for it to have been justified by their listing agent and justified by everybody in there, I don't know. It just is like, I feel like, I don't know. I'm like trying to Ted Lasso my way through the real estate industry. Mm-hmm. And that is not what you come upon. You know?
Unfortunately not.
Yeah, my broker in charge. I called my actual broker in charge for the first time. And he was like, it sounds like, Kate, sometimes people are fucking assholes. Well, he didn't say fucking assholes. He was like, sometimes people are assholes. And that's what sounds like you're what's going on. And I was like, okay, I need a thicker skin. And he was like, I mean, yeah, if you want to keep doing this for a while, So, but I'm not going to be a person who ever, if I ever treat someone the way that person treated me, I'm switching jobs. This ain't for me anymore.
Yeah.
Right.
It's time to go.
But I did hear from somebody else that person is just a douchebag.
Yeah.
I was like, well, we think maybe he has something to go. No, he's like that all the time. I was
Just
like,
a
okay.
douchebag.
Okay, well.
What you need is the womb.
I need the pod womb.
You need the womb. Go lay in the darkness.
Yeah.
God, she used the word womb. I want a digital copy of this so I can search how many times
Do you
she
not
used
have it?
the
Oh,
word
you don't
womb.
have it. Can I give it to you?
I don't know. But I don't think you can search in the same way.
Oh, okay.
But no, like the tower has a womb. Everything had a womb. This was a womb. Everything had a womb. The very end of it, it was like womb, womb, womb.
Well,
womb,
do you
womb,
think
womb,
that
womb,
is
womb, womb,
because something I can't say?
I don't know.
Yes, I
You might want to cut that out. Hey, this has some spoilers in it. Like
It always does.
I know,
Yeah.
but I feel
We're
bad.
in it.
My friend Beth, I love her so much. She'll be fine with that.
Yeah.
That's not her real name. That's our fake name. She's actually reading these and listening to our things.
yay.
And she said that we have nice voices and she likes listening to us. She thinks you're so smart. She said, I'm really surprised. I'm really surprised Rachel caught on so early that Tamlin was such a douchebag. And I was like, she's got the healthiest relationship I've ever seen.
Yeah.
That's why.
Yeah.
That's why, because she wasn't blinded by the douchery.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Like we were.
Yeah, but she's like enjoying the books, listening along.
Nice.
So I don't want to spoil it. Like I know one person who's gonna listen to this, and I don't want to
you
spoil
said
anything
the
for her.
thing that I can't talk about. So I
Yeah.
don't think that's a spoiler.
It's not.
It's not.
You literally said the thing that I can't talk about.
Right.
No one
I
knows
did
what
like
that
all
is.
the bells. That was very
yeah.
atmospheric.
The bells. Yeah.
In
Yeah.
the womb.
Yeah.
In the womb.
In the womb.
In the womb of the mount, in the tower womb.
Yeah.
Womb.
I know.
Oh,
It's just the
that was
word
good.
womb is so, I don't know.
Woomy.
It's weird. For some reason, it's one of those words I don't like.
Like,
It's the way it sounds.
I don't know. I think it's just,
Is it the M and the B
I don't
Yeah.
know. Maybe.
and the W?
Like, I don't
Yeah.
like when, sometimes like a woman will put her hand over her like abdomen and instead of saying that to be like over her womb. Like, is it a womb right now? It's just sitting there. It's like the size of a grape. I'm pretty sure we don't need to call it a womb right now. Can we?
I'm not triggered by womb.
I can see it.
It's okay.
That's okay. Yeah.
But also, I didn't notice all the wombs in
I
this
didn't
book.
either.
So
Maybe it's because you had to look at the word.
Could be. Yeah, because I wasn't listening to
Yeah,
it.
you had to look at that word a lot.
Yeah.
I did a tandem listen.
I did the tandem too. I got 3/4 through.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
How?
I told you I was listening to it I started a week ago.
Is there like a timeline you follow, or do you just?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a schedule
There's a PDF that's been floating around
there's
the
a
internet.
PDF,
Nice.
and you do, Empire of Storms chapter 1 through 3, and then Tower of Dawn chapter 1. It tells you the order to go, and I really liked it.
Yeah, it was great. I will
It
actually.
made so much sense.
It's a really superior way to absorb these two books.
I was like,
Interesting.
I think I will do this from now on.
Like when you reread
Like
these,
the next time I reread them. Gotcha.
right?
Hands down, my favorite conversation in the entire book is when they're at the table.
Oh my God.
And is it Argon? Argon is like, hey, so Aylin's been going up and down the coast burning cities. Is that the kind of thing she would do? And Kale's like, oh my God. And
No.
he's like, lie, just lie, open your mouth and say no, lie to them. And he's like, I don't know. It's just like, he can't. He's like, maybe, like if she could justify it,
Having a bad day.
Like he's like, I think she kind of would. It was
Yeah.
an interesting point of view of Aelin from the people who are around her and are like collateral damage of Aelin.
Yeah.
And then for them to be like, honestly, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe.
The part where he's like, okay, I got to think of a place. I got to think of somewhere to tell them that she might be, that she would never go. Okay, she
It's
would
where she is
never,
right
ever,
now.
ever go back to that Pirate's Bay. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Skulls Bay.
Skulls Bay.
Yeah.
Skulls Bay. She'll never, ever, ever go back there.
Yeah.
And
She's literally there.
literally there. Yeah.
And then we go see the Illyrians. Oh, I mean the Rukin.
Hey, the fucking Illyrians have actual wings, and they're demon wings.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I
sorry.
meant to wear my Cauldron Blessed Illyrian Obsessed shirt tonight.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Dang it.
Dang it, you had to wear that cute little matchy-matchy outfit.
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they go see the rugged, like
Warrior, bird
mountain
riders.
people who can fly, who
I
live
really-
in the mountains.
So Hannah and I were saying this before we started. I really love the Rukin.
This is your scene.
I really like it. I
I
like,
like the Rukin.
yeah, they feel very like indigenous.
Yeah.
You know?
Ewok like.
Yeah.
They're up in the trees.
Yeah, they live in the trees. They like they're salt of the earth people.
Yeah.
They are I think that Sartak
Sartak. You said.
First of all, that motherfucker's fine as fuck. Just
Long hair.
need long
The
ass
coolest
hair.
part is where he cuts his hair for her arrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They set it on fire.
Yeah.
Yeah. He likes her immediately. And when you think about, you're in this, we start this book in this like incredibly elaborate, wealthy palace. And this dude is so down to earth. You get good vibes from him almost immediately. And you realize it's because he didn't grow up here. Like, this
Yeah.
isn't who he is. This is just like a part of who he is. Who he is Edge's kid.
Yeah.
You know? He's with his hearth mother.
Is it Borta?
Borta.
Borta's.
Borte is how they say it in the book, I think. Yeah. And she's funny.
Yeah.
She is so funny. Her relationship with Urine, I want that for myself. Where you like are constantly pretending that you don't love somebody, but they're like so into each other.
Like, I fucking hate you.
Yes.
Coming
I
back tomorrow?
fucking
Yes.
love that relationship.
That is my ideal relationship.
Yeah.
A hate relationship.
Yeah.
Now
Yes.
I know why I have the healthiest.
Yeah, I know.
Now
I
we
know.
know.
I know.
Can
I know.
you pretend to hate me and go live over there, and
Or
then we'll just get together?
But it
occasionally?
has to be like in a funny way.
Yeah.
Like in a playful way.
Playfully
and
antagonistic.
we're both consenting to being such assholes to each other.
Yeah.
Right?
You're setting up
Sure.
scenes.
It has to be consensually asshole-ish.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because any other balance, it's abuse.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's a very hard thing to find.
Yes.
And I think a lot of women feel that way.
Consensual assholes.
Yeah, consensual assholery.
Yeah.
I love that.
It's just right along there with butt stuff, you know?
Yeah.
10 margaritas, I'm gonna poop in the bed.
I've been singing that all week.
Sorry.
Like today at my desk, I'm going, 10 margaritas, I'm going to poop in the bed. Just
Have
over
you heard that
and
song,
over
Rachel?
and over.
So
heard
there's a
that
song
song.
on TikTok that's trending right now. Actually, I didn't know this, but its origin, there was this preacher lady on a college campus. She was shouting out, 1 margarita. You're going to do this. 2 margaritas. This is going to happen. 3 margaritas. She's literally like hyping these college kids up.
Yeah.
So this lady made this song about it. It's like 1 margarita. I don't know.
I'm going to open my legs.
2 margaritas.
I'm a...
Give you some head.
Yeah.
3 margaritas, you can put it in the bush. 4 margaritas, you can put it in the tush. 5 margaritas. And anyways, so this,
Yeah.
my line that I've just zipped into my head is
Which actually makes more sense than all the others.
all the other ones is 10 margaritas, I'm gonna poop in the bed. So I say that one. It's like a soundworm. It's in my head all the time.
Nice.
It's in my head
Well, that's.
to stay.
I
Yeah.
am
think.
so happy you guys finding enjoyment with that.
Thank you. But think about it. If you drink 10 margaritas, that's literally 10 ounces of tequila.
You're going to shit
Yes.
your pants.
And then
Yes.
the amount of sugar going through your body, 1, you're unconscious, and 2, your body is alleviating its stress.
Yes.
Yeah. I will say this. just to save myself embarrassment. I have never pooped from being drunk.
Really?
No, never. I mean, maybe the maybe the following
I feel
day.
like I learn more about you every single time.
Wait, you've pooped your pants?
Okay, I'm going to say this.
Please do.
I don't think it was
You
from
were
being drunk,
poopy pants?
but I have pooped my pants like 2 or 3 times in my adult life, okay?
Oh, wow.
I know. But one was from the Waffle House and we couldn't make it home on time. One
Oh my God.
was
Did the
from-
relationship you were in survive?
Yes, and actually, no, we'll get to that later. One was from like being sick, okay?
Yeah, that's reasonable.
And then one was from margaritas at
Like
a Mexican restaurant, like
Yeah.
just, having way too many.
Yeah.
And I did not make it home. I pooped my pants.
That's okay. That's
It's
okay.
okay.
I have had Taco Bell with a friend
Feels so much
before,
better.
and then when we were driving home, I said, "If I shit in the car right now, would our friendship make it? Would it survive?" And she was like, "Unsure,
Wow.
unsure."
At least she was honest.
I mean, what would you do if someone shit in your car on your
I'd try
fabric?
to
I mean, I
find
would.
out if they were okay.
Ugh,
It would
yeah.
depend on who it was.
Yeah, it would.
If you
Yeah.
pooped in my car, I feel like I would still love you.
Yeah, I would feel that I wouldn't ever disown someone from pooping in my car because
Unless
you don't
I just
poop
already
yourself
didn't like them.
Unless you did it on purpose.
Unless you're
and we're having a different conversation.
unless you get watery bowels because something scares the shit out of you. As we have learned in the Mass verse, many
Yes.
people get watery
Oh,
bowels
so many watery
Yeah.
bowels.
Your bowels
Yeah.
can turn to water.
instantly from fear. Yes.
Yeah.
Anyways, I digress.
We haven't talked about the tour at all.
The tower,
Put that back there.
the Torre
tower.
Chesme.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
that's really important.
Yeah, it really
Shit
is.
aside. We
Yeah.
haven't talked about the healers.
I feel like
tower.
the healers could have saved me from a lot of, experiences.
I love that it's like Medicare for all.
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
And that's intentional, very
Yeah,
intentional.
yeah.
She wrote this, she kind of makes a statement with this
Yeah.
place. And she says, like, you don't have, Irene is embarrassed that she did not go sooner because she thought she'd have to pay for it.
Yeah.
She, like, comes in with her emerald jewelry and she's like, here you go. And they're like, what are you doing? Like, aren't you God blessed with magic? And she's like, yeah. Okay, you're good.
Then you're good.
And but let's also acknowledge that the kingdom is so wealthy that
Yeah.
they can afford to have a socialized healthcare.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, for all you readers out there, if you haven't thought about that, you need to think about that.
Think about it.
Yeah. It's great. I love that Hafiza is, a really healthy mentor.
Yeah, I like that she wasn't. A lot of times, Sarah J. Maas likes to portray people in power as an asshole.
Yeah.
Even if they're working with you, they're still an asshole. And she wasn't. She was like, "Oh, you mean the secret books that I have in my secret closet over there? Here's my secret key."
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I remember being surprised about that.
Yeah, me
like I
too.
remember expecting the
Them-
healer on high to be scary.
She was like a
and mean,
millennial manager.
and I was like, oh,
Like thoughtful,
Yeah.
conscious, like conscientious,
Empathetic.
intentional. Yeah.
Yeah.
loved
She's
her.
like, you got one more job before you can leave. And I think you need this healing, not
Yeah.
for him, but for you too.
Right.
Like, this is important. You
And
can't
she
go
did.
back with what
Right.
you're carrying.
She
Yeah.
couldn't have.
Right. And at the very end, of course, that's the key to all of it.
Is the books.
Oh, and the I carry my own dark passenger. And it may not be the Vogue, but it's hate. And hate, I'm feeding the hate, and the hate feeds on me. And I have to get rid of that if I want to be able to be at my full potential.
And my full power.
Yeah.
And there's that
So deep.
we learn how Irene is just as essential. Her power and her healing is just as essential as Aylin's.
Ayland. Yeah.
It's just a different side of the coin. One is this I think of it as like starlight. I feel like Irene's is more like starlight.
Yeah.
And Aylin's is more like bright blue fire.
Yeah. Heat and healing. Two different sides of the coin. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
She burns them fuckers out of there. Did you expect it to be
Duva?
Did you expect it to be Duva? Did you see that coming?
No, because I honestly forgot that we were trying to find somebody like halfway through it. Because after a while, they forget they're trying to find somebody. Because at the very
Yeah.
beginning, they're like, we're going to look for black rings. And he's like, fuck it, I didn't find any.
And it's like 3 weeks go by, and then another 3 weeks go by. And
Well, we get we get distracted by the, like, someone is hunting them. Like, the person gets killed in the library, and then they go after Kale. And then, so you're like, oh, there's an active something
Active
happening.
shooter.
Yeah, there's an active shooter. So you get distracted by
Yeah,
it.
you do. Well, and they don't mention, like, I just feel like it probably wasn't smart that they didn't mention that Parrington had sent wedding gifts. They don't mention that, right?
No, they don't. Not
Till
till
the
the
end.
very end.
Like, come on, fuckers. They're literally telling you. Let me delete my profanity for a second.
it's frustrating because you want them to connect those two things because you do.
Yeah.
Yes. And that's where sometimes she does that. She didn't do it till the very end of this book. And it was just for a short period where Sarah gives you enough information for you to figure it out.
And they
But she doesn't.
So
let
they
them-
don't ever
and I
acknowledge
can't-
it.
And that
Yeah.
you a lot.
Yeah.
It does me too if it goes on too long.
If it goes on too long, I'm okay for like a few minutes, but then I need the characters to get with it. If you
Yeah.
got me to figure it out, they need to figure it out. I don't want to have
That-
secret knowledge.
And I really think this is why you're really going to like Fourth Wing, but that's in a couple months. It's fine.
Although I did like so we have the library and they know there's like secret tunnels.
I like
and
the-
everyone's like,
sorry.
there's secret tunnels. They're not blocked up in any way. They just walk down these tunnels and like 15 feet past the last candle, there's a giant treasure room with tombs in it.
And
And they
like a continental wealth of gold.
right, just
I think it's
That's
a
how
little bit farther
wealthy-
than that. A little bit farther.
okay, 30 feet.
But it's
like
accessible.
100.
Maybe 100.
Maybe
yeah,
we're
but
talking
it's
like
accessible.
meters.
We're not behind a locked
Maybe it's meters because we're in
door.
the southern continent.
Okay, maybe, but we're not behind. We're not behind
the
a
metric
locked
system.
door. Nothing. I mean, even
Yeah.
Aelin had to.
But
use,
isn't that cool that people don't go there and they're not exploratory? Because there's not a Rachel living there.
no? But no young person has ever been like, oh, there's tunnels.
Maybe they have and they just didn't share.
They didn't share the giant tomb room full of gold and
You're right.
Sealed
it's
golden
hard.
caskets?
Yeah. Okay. I'll give you it. It's hard to embrace.
we could have put a door.
There could have been a door.
Hey, a tapestry. We could put up a tapestry.
Yeah.
No
A very
one would have found
obvious
it.
Just like
tapestry.
a tapestry that told the ancient story of the Fae and Silba.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I'll give you that. I didn't think about it at all. It's fine.
It's fine.
The
I think by
cat-
that
maybe the
point she's
cats.
just like, "Meh, it's fine.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. There was something else. Oh, one of my favorite. I think it's just such a delightful. Nezrin's family making it there.
Yeah.
And the
that.
part at the end where the kids are losing their damn mind because those famous birds show up, and he's just
Yes.
like, she's just such a common person. Like her
a
family
Cinderella
is
story. It
yeah,
feels
they're
like.
just these like normal people, and she is. I never not think that Nezrin is worthy of this guy. You know what I mean? Like
Never.
I wouldn't think that anyways, but like. I go into this going, she is so worthy of him.
Yes.
He is he worthy of her? And he's such a down to earth guy.
Yeah.
He's
I did keep waiting for him to have his dark side.
I know.
I kept waiting
She
for
surprised
like,
you.
Yeah. I kept waiting for him to be like, well, he's really great, but he kind of eats babies sometimes or something. But no, we was like, so when he said, I loved you, I was like, oh, okay, we're actually okay.
Yeah,
Like,
he's a
we're
good
gonna-
guy.
We're going to get a healthy relationship that doesn't involve us hating each other.
Yeah.
For an extended period
Yes,
of time
it's just
first.
him wooing her in a reasonable way.
And then we're going to get
And-
together and it's going to be fine.
And the most beige flag he does is when he tells them she's coming before he asks her to go.
Right.
I was like, oh,
Yes.
did you plan the date?
Yes, he
Go,
planned
Sartak. Yeah.
the date. I love
planned
that.
the date.
My favorite scene is when she sings.
Yeah, that's a good
in
one.
the mountains.
Yeah.
I just love that for her.
Yeah, I just love those little kids just like losing their mind.
Yes,
Because the emperor Like this
Yeah.
future king shows up.
Yeah, on their little street.
Yeah, with their birdies. I love the idea. I think the eagles. I think it's. I think these birds fill the hole that the eagles in Lord of the Rings left.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
That's what I imagine.
You know, like
Yeah.
those eagles could have saved the fucking day really early on. They could have. Somebody could have gotten on the
Why
eagle.
haven't we utilized these eagles?
Yeah, because
They had to climb up the mountain.
They had to go through
God
mortar.
almighty.
Mortar.
Mortar.
Walk through Mordor.
Why couldn't they ride them?
One does not simply.
What'd you say? I missed
So why
it.
couldn't they ride them eagles?
Walk.
They could just hop on there, flown up the mountain, gone
dropped
in, thrown
in-
the ring,
dropped in
been
the
Drop that
mountain.
bitch in the hole and been gone.
And boom, Sauron's gone.
so cold.
That eyeball in the sky melts away. But those eagles had to be so withholding, you know?
That's because they're legendary beasts.
yeah, legendary Pokemon. Yeah.
Legendary Pokemon,
Yeah,
exactly.
so I feel like these birds fill that void for me.
Yeah, and the ending was not, I liked the ending. When we're riding off on the boat, and then it like pans back, and it's a giant fleet, and there's the birds flying with them, and they're like, we're going to save
And
the
Kale,
day.
and Kale came through.
He did.
And he came back
Very
with
much
a
so.
new sense of self. He came back with a fucking artillery. He was like, take these jewels and double the order. So
Yeah.
they're going in, guns blazing.
Yeah.
Yep.
More what he killed it, he crushed it.
Right.
And he came back with this like wonderful woman.
Yes.
Except if Duva had not been possessed, he never would have gotten the army.
That's true.
So if the Volk
Wah,
had
wah,
not,
wah.
I
Here
mean,
comes Debbie Downer.
he tried.
Woulda,
he
coulda,
was,
woulda.
he was trying really hard.
Coulda, woulda, shoulda.
And he might have found another way, but it's certainly like
It
if that
certainly
Volk
helped.
princess hadn't been like, I'm gonna get this princess, he would have been fine. I mean, he wouldn't
Yeah.
have been able to do it. And then for her to be like, I'm down in the secret gold cave.
Damn, Rachel.
I mean, he was
You're
never
reaching
gonna,
out.
He was never gonna figure it out. They were never gonna figure. The only reason they figured it
Right,
out,
but
at
the
all-
pantheon of gods are pulling all the strings.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean that's a good explanation because
Yeah.
otherwise, if
A
Duva
great
had just been like,
explanation.
"You bye, you
Yeah.
don't get anything,
I thought
nothing
it-
for you."
I thought it was really cool that we get such a good. Irene is so powerful that she can heal the baby and save Duva. And it's really heartbreaking that they lost their sister like that. Like that's really
Very sad.
terrible.
Yeah. I mean, yes, that's all. Yes,
Yes.
yes,
Yes.
But again,
Yeah.
the Vol could have just like snuck in. They could have. Never mind.
No,
This is
say
me.
it. No, it's
Okay, I was
funny. It's
gonna
funny.
s-
It's funny.
Remember when we were talking about it before? I was like, why didn't they just make a whole bunch of rings and just give them away?
Yeah.
Like this is the hot new fashion trend. Why didn't they send ring gifts for every
Everybody
every
with the
single
black
son?
on the inside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We would have gotten everybody.
They would have gotten everybody.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Because she said that her sister Hassar tried to take the ring, and she had to get the ring back because she liked it better, and she was like, "Oh, I'll take your ring," and Duva wouldn't let her have it.
Yeah. Yeah. So you didn't like Hassar?
Well, Hassar was very
She's a jerk.
manipulative.
Yeah, she's super.
Yeah. Like, thanks for being my friend. I know it's hard to be my friend, and then made like a bunch of really nasty cracks.
And
About her.
also,
Yeah.
like, used her.
Yeah, used her and was like, "Hey, if you want to go home, maybe you should get some information for me because I kind of control the
Yeah.
channel." So.
That was pretty ugly.
Yeah.
But we're besties, right?
Yeah.
Here, have a dress that is like it was like the dress that Rasan dressed Feyre in every night.
Yeah.
The like strip of cloth with
Yep.
the belt.
I do love that strip of cloth at the belt.
With her butt just hanging out.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah.
y'all. My phone's just been blowing up.
You
problem.
got business?
Well, we can wrap it here because I
Yeah.
think we've talked about everything, and then we're getting
Well,
ready to go into Kingdom of Ash. Is going to be big.
I do want to take maybe a few minutes to just talk about where we're all at, like where everybody is heading into Kingdom of Ash.
Okay.
So, what's happening here? So they're headed up back up to, what's that continent called? Aurelia is the whole world.
The northern?
The northern continent.
The Arterland adjacent, all of the Arterland
Yeah, so they're
adjacent.
headed back. They're bringing the Rukin and then the Roshiran.
Yeah, we didn't hear about like the horse
Rohan,
lords.
the
Yeah.
Rohanians
Yes.
are coming.
The horse lords.
Yeah, so then we've got the so Aelin is in the box
She's in the
with
box.
Maeve and the evil guy, and so did Fenris.
Fenris is with her.
Fenris is with her. Rowan is with Where's My Wife?
Yep.
Rowan is still with
Rowan.
and Dorian and Manon are all still together. Or did Manon fly off with the 13?
Manon and Dorian fly off with the 13.
Okay.
Rowan, Alid,
Lorcan.
Lorcan.
Where's Lorcan? Didn't Lorcan get sent off? Wasn't he in trouble? For
Everybody
No.
got pissed at him because
Yeah.
he's the one who told Maeve where they were.
Yeah.
So even Alid was like,
Gavriel.
fuck off. And I'm pretty
Gavriel.
sure Alid flew off with the 13.
There's like 4, I think there's 4 of them that are going after Aelin.
Yep.
So they go this direction. Adian and Lysandra go
To Terrason.
To Terrason. So
To pretend
there
that
is a
she's-
lot.
Because she's going to be Aelin.
Everybody is split up.
Right.
We've split the party.
Yes.
This is like Game of Thrones
Don't compare it.
season
to Game
3.
of Thrones.
Don't. It's a trigger.
Don't do it. Season 4 was
Game of Thrones.
so season 4 was really good. It was fine. So after Kingdom of Ash, what are we reading? Just so if people wanted to catch up or read ahead. I think that's when we do our
monster.
our reverse harem with monsters, right?
Yes.
When we get to read monster banging.
Yeah.
Multi-
Lots and lots of monster banging.
That's great. I'm excited about some nice spice.
Yeah. Lots of spice.
I have just started Fourth Wing. I know it's a little bit early, but I was sent that book from my other book club.
Yeah, I know.
So I had to read it this month.
You'll be okay rereading it.
Uh,
Read it for your book club and then listen to it for us.
Friends with monsters and some kind of monster.
Is next month.
Friends with
After Kingdom of Ash.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And then we're going to do that French book too.
Yeah. Q.
Oh,
Oh.
I think that's the name
A
of it.
letter.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
And then we're going to
We can do-
Can you do one of those posts where you do the books?
Yeah.
Can I help you with that stuff?
Yeah, I
We'll
can
talk about
add
that
you.
off the
Yeah.
pod.
Yes.
You don't have to add me.
I can make you a collaborator.
Okay. So I can help make stuff?
Yeah.
I don't want you to have to do all of it by yourself. It's
Yeah,
a
'cause I
lot. You're
forget.
doing a really good job.
Forget.
I think I
Yeah.
love the way your page is shaping up.
Mm-hmm.
It's so
thank you.
like just not following any of the other rules and very creative and well done.
Almost like a
you.
trendsetter.
Almost like a trendsetter.
The only time in my life that's ever been applied to me. Thank
Yeah,
you so
that's how I
much.
feel too about social media for work. I'm like, I want to do this my way and I don't want it to be like anybody else's. Not because I just don't.
It's
That's
just stressful to keep up with all the.
Yeah, so
It
I'm
moves too
doing it on my
fast.
own, but there's all
Yeah.
these fucking rules and it's like, oh my God, why is this so hard?
So I'm in Filmstagram. So there's like Bookstagram, which is like all the books.
Oh, cool.
And then there's one for it's like all the film
Films?
movie people.
Yeah.
And we were trying to do a follow train, like they do in Bookstagram all the time, where you'll see like the follow train, whatever. It's like a Bookstagram specific thing. And so it was really hysterical to listen and watch these like 15 film accounts try to figure this out. Okay, so now we all posted at the same time, but like, is it the same time, my time and your time? Or like, do I adjust it? And it was just all this really granular, like, you know, it's not something they see. It's not something they interact with. It's not like a part of Instagram that they do ever. And so it was just really, so today was the day we posted it and everyone's like, okay, I think mine's up, but like, can somebody check?
I don't
And
understand what you mean.
so a follow train is like, they'll post an image that says like, this is a follow train. And you'll put all the accounts that are quote participating that have put this image up. And then you go and you follow all the people in the follow train and
Okay.
they'll follow you back. So it's
Oh,
a way of
okay.
like,
creating more of a community and all following each other.
Yeah, all finding each other. And then if you see it like on my page, you can follow all those people and then follow me and we'll all follow you back too. So it's like you don't have to be in the follow train, but you can participate.
Oh, neat.
Yeah.
I'm going to do that with my business with y'all's film shit. So I'll be like,
really,
Kate, why do you have a lot of film people following your real estate business?
It's just funny
Gotta
that it's
do
all
what you gotta do.
It's just funny that it's so siloed. Like, here's the book.
Speaking of Silo, it's a great show.
It's a good movie or a good book too. Wool.
Wool? Did you read it?
Matt did, and I read Wool, but I didn't read the rest.
And you liked it?
Yeah.
It's called
the look
Wool.
of shock on your face.
I'm just like,
that's another one. It was like The Martian. He couldn't get anybody to publish it, and so he just published it himself.
it's good.
It's good.
I've considered, it's just one of those books. It's just wild how every time there's a book sitting in my mind, you guys are like, yeah, we read that. I read that last week. I've read that before. That's fine.
I read just Wool. I didn't read the
I know.
rest
Oh,
of
well,
them.
I didn't expect you to have finished the series.
Thank
I
you.
know better.
Well, if Matt reads it, he just
Yeah, because you
It's
guys are
pretty
best
much
friends
like
and it's
you
super
both
cute
read
and you
it.
guys are the same. I know.
Same mind.
We're fucking fated mate shit. We're so healthy.
sorry.
We love each other so much.
I love each other.
We're such good at communicators. God,
welcome.
it just trickles into our great parenting as well. Like, ugh. Meanwhile, Hannah and I are like waiting
You're
for
like,
it
can
to.
I have a guy who dislikes me consensually? Can
Can we have some consensual assholery, please, in our lives? I just want somebody that's going to push all my buttons and keep me in this constant state of intense sexual chemistry / we love each other, hate each other. That's unreasonable. Real relationships are supposed to be a little boring. I know.
It's okay.
That's why we read fantasy.
That's why I would read fantasy.
Yeah,
Because we can keep them in that pocket.
right.
I came to the conclusion the other day that, like, I am out of the dating pool. Like, I'm just done. And I don't mean that if something came along, I just have no desire. I don't have what they want, and they don't have what I need.
Yeah, it's
And I
really
just
rough out there.
don't. I'm seeing so much more division between what women are, like, finally putting their foot down and saying, what you've been doing is unreasonable.
Yeah.
And
What-
men are not catching
And
up
I have been
in time.
And I've been feeling that my whole life. I just didn't have the language.
Yeah.
I didn't have the language or understand that it's like I was so scared of motherhood because I didn't want to have to be a CEO of a family
Yeah.
and do it alone. I didn't want to have to do what my mom did because that was terrible and didn't really work out for a lot of us.
Yeah.
I mean, we're all alive.
You're alive.
I saw a really good, a good breakdown of like non-binary. And what do we mean by non-binary?
Sure.
And they were talking about like, it's not just about non-binary being like, I don't feel like a woman or I don't feel like a man. It's I reject the common idea that because I have a gender, I have to act or be
a certain way. And I actually really relate to that.
Yeah. That
Yeah.
it's not just, I sexually don't have a gender.
Sure.
It's like, I don't accept that I have to be a woman in this relationship.
Right.
That I have to be the quote, like 1950s woman that has dinner on the table
You don't
at
have to drink
4:30.
tabs so that your shape is good.
You
so
don't
that
have to
when
drink
your
tabs.
so your husband's sexually attracted to you when you're not around, and he
Right.
doesn't go cheat on you because your body's bigger because you birthed 3 babies with your womb,
Yeah,
With
and
your
drank
womb.
regular
Thank
Coke.
you.
and you drink
so
regular soda.
Right.
You lost
Which
your
at
shape.
that point they didn't even put fructose, high fructose.
No, it was
they had
probably
real
fine.
soda.
Yeah.
Like that was so much better.
Yeah.
We're still poisoning people with corn syrup.
Yep.
That's why we got diabetes.
Diabetes.
But I thought that was an interesting
That's
way of
That's
looking
a
very
at
really,
interesting.
that's a
non-binary.
really, and it's a way
It's
more.
rejecting the whole binary.
Yeah, it's
The
not
idea of
about
us and them.
and simplifying it
The
as
roles.
not like I don't have a vagina. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
people make it, well, like, yes, I mean, like I physically have a vagina, but I don't want to have to act like this to be a parent.
Right.
Or I don't want to have to be like this to be lovable. Like
because I don't feel
my
like
mom
this.
used to say demure and genteel. Be more demure and genteel. Go fuck yourself, woman. You're not demure and genteel at all in any way. I'm not. We are all 5 feet fucking tall and act like little chihuahuas.
I had to go to charm class.
Like cotillion.
Okay.
Did you go to cotillion?
No, this was the cult
Jesus.
version.
Okay.
Okay.
Literally.
I don't
Like,
know. Have we
where
mentioned on the
you know how
pod
to
you were
sit
raised in a
down?
cult?
No.
I don't think so.
Well, another
It's
episode.
okay. We don't
So
need to.
that was the little drop mentioned.
Yeah.
But
Hannah's
the
a
charm class, I mean, everything is on the woman's shoulders.
Yeah.
We're responsible for how the man behaves,
Yes.
how they think, feel, act, you know, by our behavior.
Meanwhile, yes.
I don't want to be responsible for that. I want to be
No.
responsible for myself.
Because you're not actually responsible for that.
Yes.
Yeah, like we had that text that you started, and I was like, I'm under no responsibility to be a small, hairless child so that you'll be sexually attracted to me.
Yeah.
I don't have to be tiny. I don't have to shave shit.
Yeah.
You are attracted to me or you're not attracted to me. And I am not required to customize this appearance for your preference.
Yeah.
Period. That is, if I change myself to be something for you, that is going to make me uncomfortable my entire life because now I have created a character that I have to play.
And it makes women hate themselves.
Right.
Because we have created this idea of, like, when I think about the amount of self-loathing that I have felt my entire life, because I was a size 6.
Right.
And my girlfriends were all size 0 and 2. My mom told me I couldn't wear tank tops because my arms were fat, because her arms were fat. I couldn't be in the beauty pageant because I thought it would be fun because short women aren't beautiful, they're cute. You know?
Yeah.
I would, if I stopped biting my fingernails, I might get a boyfriend. Quoting my father. You stop biting your nails, boys might like you. You know, my dad still makes a comment all the time. The first thing he does when he's talking about a woman is describe her appearance.
Ugh.
And it's disgusting. And I
Yeah.
love my dad. And I can accept that about him and we can move on with our lives.
I mean, they're the tab generation.
They
were
are.
physical
And
appearance.
I feel so sad for my mom because she was just like, you know, realizing later on in life that my mom is probably autistic. Right? And
Yeah.
she's been, we've been thinking her our whole life, maybe she was like borderline or something, but no, she's just masking,
Yeah.
you know? And just the way that she feels about herself, it's so sad. I can't go to a pool. Mom, you weigh 140 pounds. You can absolutely go to a pool.
Yeah.
The beach is going to get whatever body I give it.
Yeah.
I put on Bridget Jones' Diary the other day.
Yeah.
Just because I was like, oh, I haven't watched that in forever. It has not aged well.
No.
Have you tried to watch it?
No.
She's like
Anytime recently?
135.
She's 135. She starts out, she's like, goals, lose 40 pounds. And she writes down her weight in her diary, and it's 130.
No.
And then she's at work, and like the hot guy is like, what happened to your skirt?
Oh, yeah.
Or your tits look nice in that
so
top.
inappropriate.
Right. And,
And I
that
was
was
just like,
normal.
Well, what is what?
The
and
Brits,
I remember,
you know.
Yeah.
I remember watching that and thinking, oh, he must like her. Like that's
Yes.
attractive.
Yes.
And
Look how
now-
far we've come
and then
I'm
in
watching
just
it
like
now and I'm
20
like,
years.
Yes.
Oh my god!
And
what is
I
this?
remember being really something that I've always had to cope with is that I was the fat friend, but I wasn't fat. Like I had this, like I was just like the friend that wasn't a 0 or a 2.
Yeah.
And I remember the way that like when we would go into like a party environment, right? And there would be men around or boys around or guys around, boys. And the way I would be treated versus them, like where they won't even make eye contact with you because if I'm friendly with them, that means I like them.
yeah,
I still deal with that a lot. That's why I wear my engagement ring because I don't ever want someone to think that my friendliness means that I like them.
yeah,
And so because something I've noticed is that they'll find a way to like And granted, some of this is good. They'll find a way to mention their girlfriend. A lot of times men find a way to mention their girlfriend, which is great. That means they're saying, like, I'm taken.
Yeah.
Right?
I have a boundary.
And there's a part of my mind that feels like that's a small rejection. Like, bitch, I don't want you.
Yeah.
You don't have to tell me that. That's not what's happening here. I'm literally just a very friendly person with a personality.
Yeah.
And I walk into a room and assume we're all on the same page.
And I think we get a lot of that from media.
Yeah.
Because anytime men and women interact on media, that we're working our way up to a relationship.
Right.
And that's actually why, like, Will and Grace. Will and Grace was such a revolutionary show.
Because they were just friends.
Because they were just friends.
Yeah.
And the way they achieved that was by taking it off the table.
Right.
Like, Will's never going to love Grace because she's not a dude.
Yeah.
And so we can just dispense with that. And then they can just be friends.
Right.
And that's why sometimes I get frustrated with the way they portray relationships in books. Because how we shape our perception of society is what we learn from stories that we tell.
Right.
And so when we don't tell healthy stories, how can we expect to have healthy expectations?
Yeah.
And I think we need to change our expectations in media. It's okay to have a heterosexual man and a heterosexual woman who are friends with no expectation of ever being intimate.
Right. And they don't have to be. What was another thing I saw? I saw Matt Rife. Do y'all know who that is?
Yes.
He's a little problematic. But he was telling a joke that, like, men and women can't be friends. And if they are, one of them likes the other, or one of them is way uglier or something. And I was like, is that why, Matt? Is that why I have good pal friends? Because I'm so ugly? Like, I just wanted to be like, go fuck yourself, bro.
Yeah.
Like, that's such a shitty thing to say. And anyways, I think he's
It's very shallow.
Yeah, and I have a lot of really good dude friends, and yeah, I remember intentionally taking on a more masculine energy so that it was never perceived as, like, I genuinely, for me to be in my feminine, I have to feel super safe. And I'm not in a feminine energy around guy friends.
No, well, you got to be one of the boys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But not in like a pick me way.
No.
In like a just like, hey bro.
It's a way of taking yourself off the table.
Correct.
Like, I'm not up for offer. I'm just like you. I'm just like you.
Yeah,
And-
I don't want you. And I remember one time this guy that I went to high school with had come from college. I forgot. Anyways, he came and stayed with us, and we were all drinking together, and, like, we were all having a great time, and he, like, tried to kiss me that night. And I was like, why? What are you doing? Like, why? Like, why would you think that? Like, nothing's different. And I just remember thinking, like, what did I do that gave off the vibe that, like, now I'm any different than I don't want that.
Yeah.
I just, and that happens. I mean, that's just.
I think that guys just assume that we want to kiss them all the time.
Yeah. And I'm
Seriously.
like, no, I'm like the friend. That's not where I'm putting myself. I don't want that for myself.
Yeah.
I choose who I want to have that kind of like I'm not in my feminine right now. Why would you want that?
Well, that's another thing where story shapes us is
Yeah.
like, think about the rom-coms from when we were younger. Like, She's All That. And the other ones where, like, when you meet her, she's extremely masculine. She
Yeah.
doesn't wear dresses. She wears she's the tomboy, and she wears glasses.
Yeah.
And then what's the moment that the male love interest first sees her as a
glow
woman?
up.
Is when she's wearing a dress
And
she does her
pretty, yeah.
hair
And
and
she
she
took
puts
her
on her
glasses
makeup
off.
and she takes her glasses
And she's
off.
a different person.
And now that she's in her feminine, now I see her. Now I see her as attractive.
Right.
Whereas before, I could completely overlook her. Or we
Yeah.
could just be friends because she was just one of the boys. She was just wearing, like, her flannel shirt and her glasses and her whatever.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's real life shit. You're right. I mean, the stories do shape the way that we perceive ourselves and the way we see people around us. And I think we're going through, like, a huge undoing, which is why there's so much. We're also, with social media, able to live in our own bubbles. Like, Andrew Tate kids, Andrew Tate boys, they live in their Andrew Tate world.
It's an echo chamber.
It's an echo chamber, yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like men and women are just going to stop dating each other because men don't want to learn what women want. Women aren't going to take the bare minimum anymore.
Yeah.
You
So-
know, we don't need each other to survive, even though the housing costs. We actually still do
We
need
actually
to be.
do need some
we need
partnerships.
2 incomes to be able to afford
Yeah.
a home now.
Well,
Yeah.
and besties
And
are
rent.
doing that. Like,
Yeah.
best
Hannah,
friend
we should,
girls.
you want to buy a house together?
Yeah, like we
heterosexual
should.
life mates.
Yeah,
Heterosexual
that's what
life
I'm
mates.
saying. Like,
Yeah.
Because going through life alone is hard.
it's hard. We're not meant to do it. You need a village. Like, your kids need adults in their lives that aren't family, that like them and care about them.
Yeah.
We need each other to lean on. I've got 2 really great friends that live in Asheville, and they're hetero life mates. Like, they live together. They take care of each other. They're just like a couple. But, you know, they date their own people.
Yeah.
Because you cannot, this world is too hard alone.
To be alone. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a really good like playground study, and it's one of the ones they use when they're talking about like the argument against helicopter parenting is like if you put a group of children together and you have one child that's acting like the antagonist, like they're taking over the game.
I'm so
It's
sorry.
okay. Just
I
waiting
gotta
for you.
get my bridge mix.
No, go for it.
Okay, I'm good. Anybody want some bridge mix?
I'm gonna have some afterwards.
Okay.
But you know, if you have one child that's acting antagonistic, they're harming the other children, they're being aggressive. If you don't interfere, the group of children will actually send that child away. They will ostracize the child that is being antagonistic. And they actually like left them to do it, didn't go try to reconcile to see what would happen. And after a while, the group will actually send over someone to talk to the kid and then bring them back. And then that child will play cooperatively with everybody.
Because he had the social pressure to learn.
Well, so maybe what we're doing is we're cutting out the toxic dudes. These guys are never boyfriend material. No matter how hot they are, they're never going to be boyfriend material. And we learn that and we just send them off.
Yep.
Go over there. And then either they learn their lesson and they get to come back and play nice with all the other kids, or they stay over there forever and they don't procreate and they don't get to pass on that toxic masculinity to the next generation, or rather fragile masculinity.
Yeah, very fragile.
Yeah.
I like that.
I like that guy from this weekend.
Yeah, that's
Fragile.
fragile masculinity. Matt calls that fragile masculinity because it can't survive any touch of the feminine.
Right.
I can't wear a dress that'll make me not a guy anymore. I can't paint my nails that'll make me not a guy anymore. And so that's the definition of fragile.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, now that we've talked about not the book for the last half an hour,
That's okay.
we haven't done this in a while.
Yay.
We haven't just gone off on a really good rant in a while.
And I think it's really important
It was
to have
good.
these conversations.
It really is. Yeah. It is, because I think that the podcast space is often a male space.
Yeah.
Yeah. 2 dudes with a podcast.
Well, I have been coming across, there's a lot of us out there. There's a lot of people doing what we're doing out there.
Excellent.
And that's okay.
Good.
Yeah, I
a
try.
rising tide lifts all boats.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And I try really hard to not pay attention to them because I don't want to, I will compare so quickly and I want to be so authentically us. It's just like I don't follow a lot of other realtor, like, you know, in work. I want to be authentically me. And if I gain a following or people follow us, I want it because we're
We're
you know,
ourselves.
we're ourselves.
Yeah, the same way in a relationship, you don't have to change who you are.
Right.
Yeah. You're attracted to me or you're not attracted to me. Yes. Huh?
Yeah, and I've always, I chameleon really quickly too, and I just don't want to do that anymore because it's exhausting.
And it's in the end, you're setting yourself up for failure.
Yeah.
Because you can't sustain that for forever.
Yeah. This all started talking about your healthy relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it is. It's fun. It's really cool to watch your relationship just because you're like, oh, that's what it looks like when they talk to each other on a daily basis, and you guys like each other.
My parents
And
also
there's-
had a really healthy relationship.
And there's
though.
not like this. You know what you guys don't have? See if you hear me on this. I feel like in a lot of couples there is this underlying tension because they're not communicating well. So they're just pretending that everything is good always. And there's just this like tension. And everybody in the room can feel it. And when Matt walked in the other day and you asked to go to dinner, we both were like
physically I
physically
shrank.
clenched.
Yeah.
Both of us. Because we were expecting him to be like, no, I need help putting the kiss bed. I can't be a dad on my own. I need a mom with me. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we both did that. We were wide-eyed, going back and forth, and you guys were just so fucking chill. And I was like, oh my God, this is what it looks like. You know?
Yeah.
And y'all aren't perfect. I don't think that at all. I mean, I'm not saying I don't have like critique. I'm not saying that. I don't know why you're not perfect. You know what I mean? I don't know you well enough to know that, but just it is very refreshing to see two people be able to be best friends and still like each other and still do podcasts together and read together
And raise children together.
and talk to each other.
But we can do all that because we talk to each
That's
other.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And deeply. And about the hard stuff.
Yeah, you got to face the hard stuff.
And you both work on yourselves, you know? And it's just really like, that's why you don't like the toxic stuff in the books. And me and Hannah are like, bring it on. Oh, you hate me? Oh, that's so attractive.
I mean, my parents
So
had a
hot right now.
It's so hot right now.
My parents had a super healthy relationship
Yeah.
too, so I did have a good like model to follow.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because my dad was, Matt and I don't have a very strong binary. We don't have a very strong, I have the feminine, he has the masculine.
Yeah.
And neither did my parents.
Right.
And
I
I
love
think
that.
that's why I was like, I didn't feel like I needed to be my mom. And if I did feel like I needed to be my mom, that doesn't look the same as a lot of other people needing to be their mom.
Right. Yeah.
So I have that going for me, which I'm extremely thankful for.
Yeah, because it works.
Yeah, because my dad was desperately in love with my mom for
Oh.
52 years.
Oh, it's
52 years.
so sweet.
I can't talk about it or I'm going to cry.
That's okay. Okay.
Well, I mean, we could just all have
I
a
cried.
cry.
We could all have a
cried.
cry.
Yeah.
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 I cried earlier.
So sweet.
Talking about
okay.
what's gonna happen in a book. You can
Yeah.
you can cry about your dad.
I know.
He's a sweet man.
It's almost a year. It'll be a year on August 7th.
August
Wow.
7th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Pour one out.
yeah. All right. We're going to leave it here.
Okay.
Okay. Until next time, friends.
Okay, bye.
Goodbye.
Is it hot in here or is it just me tuning in to hear these three chatting about fantasy novels of the spicy variety? Not your average book club, if you know what